guys, I'm Scott. My project is called Drivers of Economic Mobility. The project analyzes how county-level conditions can impact upward economic mobility for children in low-income families, specifically families who fall in the 25th percentile of income. The research questions I'm addressing are: which county-level characteristics are associated with higher income mobility for children from low-income families? Does growing up in a poor county always mean lower upward mobility, or do some county characteristics offset the effects of poverty? And then, how do county-level income mobility outcomes vary across the United States geographically? And are there notable regional patterns in upward mobility for children from low-income families? The source I used was a nonprofit organization called Opportunity Insights. They're a research organization from Harvard aiming to expand economic opportunity in the U.S. And the significance or the motivation behind the project was to understand the drivers of mobility. And yeah, I did it because I study economics, so I wanted to see, look at one of the biggest topics of economic thought. The response variable was the mean percentile rank in the national distribution of household income at age 27 for children whose parents are at the 25th percentile of national income. The explanatory variables are the fraction of children from the 1990 birth cohort who were employed at age 27, the median household income in 1990, the share of individuals below the federal poverty line, the fraction of people 25 and older with a college degree in each county, the share of households with children under 18 that have a single parent in 1990, the fraction of the population that identified as black in 1990, the fraction of residents who are foreign-born, and the Gini coefficient, which is a measure of income equality in the population. First, for EDA, I looked at the distribution of average economic mobility across the counties. Most counties cluster between the 40th and 55th percentiles. Not too many are low or high. There's a couple outliers. And this supports treating mobility as a continuous outcome. For the scatter plot, I have median household income against income percentile at age 27. Most counties cluster around $30,000 to $70,000 in median income, and in around the 40th to 50th percentiles of mobility. There's no strong upward or downward trend, so richer counties do not consistently have higher mobility, and some relatively low-income counties have fairly high mobility. And this shows that median income alone is not a very strong predictor of upward mobility. And then here's the summary statistic table, so just the basic distributions of each variable. And then I have a heat map which shows some of the correlations between the explanatory variables. Some of the strongest correlations were median household and employment rates in the age of college educated adults, that's median household income. And then employment and education were strongly correlated. And then poverty and employment and education were negatively correlated. And then I have a map showing the average mobility of each state. And we'll get back to this later to answer one of the research questions. The modeling approach I used was a multiple linear regression model to look at the relationship. The modeling approach is appropriate because the response variable is continuous, and I wanted to quantify how much it changes with several county level characteristics. And look at like how a unit increase in each of them affected the outcome. And here's the regression model down here. For the diagnosis plots, I have a residual versus fitted plot. You can see that most values are scattered around zero with a slight curve, which shows sub-nonlinearity. But there's slight heteroscedasticity, but not exactly severe. For the normal QQ plot, we can see that most points are on the line, but heavier tails at both extremes, which show that the residuals are approximately normal with a few more extreme counties. The scale location plot plot shows a even spread of standardized residuals across the fitted values with a slight upward trend in the red line, which suggests that any non-constant variance is slight. And the residuals versus leverage plot shows that some counties have high leverage, but all of the points are within the Cook's distance line, so nothing really dominates the fit. So there's some mild violations in the graphs, but the model is still able to be used for not exactly for like causal uses, but they still show like approximate trends. And moving back to the research questions, the first one was which county level characteristics are associated with higher income ability for children from low families. According to the regression model, the coefficients that were highest were for counties with employment rates and a higher fraction of college graduates and a higher population. Some of the variables that weren't very associated with high income ability were a higher share of single-parent households, a greater population share of blacks, and higher income inequality. The next research question was, does growing up in a poor county always mean lower upward mobility, or do some county characteristics offset the effects of poverty? So look at this, I made a second regression model that took out college and employment, and then I compared the AIC values of these two models. And we can see that in the full model, the AICs are pretty much units lower, which shows that education and employment improves explanatory power. And then I made a bar chart of the three variables, which are the college educated share, the employment rate, and the poverty rate. So we can see that the college educated share and the employment rate are much more influential on outcome than poverty variables. The third research question was, how do county level income ability outcomes vary across the U.S. geographically, and are there regional patterns in upward mobility from children from low-income families? And on the map, we can see that children from low-income families experience the highest average mobility in the Great Plains and the upper Midwest and parts of the Mountain West, where the color is yellow. And then the coasts are more mixed with some high and some low mobility, like we have mid-40s here and lower on the east side. To conclude, during this project, I learned a lot about what variables can help improve mobility for lower income children in America. Research question one, we found that the regression model tells us that a higher percent of college educated adults and employment rates are strong predictors of mobility. Question two, we found that the AIC comparison shows that adding education and employment greatly improves fit to predict this mobility. And then we found which regions are more associated with that mobility. But the analysis is limited by cross-sectional observational data, and there's some missing factors like school quality or neighborhood conditions, so we can't exactly make college predictions. Future work can use richer neighborhood measures to better understand these mechanisms. And just a little bit about me, I'm Scott. I'm a senior here studying economics. Over the summer, I worked as a sales intern at a crane retail company, and after graduation, I went to work